Twitter. And now I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go to my channel and fucking be like, create. Oh, go live. Yeah, I'm going live for the first time. Now fucking. Yes, finally. God. Okay. All right, everything's fucking working now. All right. Who's here? No one's here. People watching on Twitter, feel free to you know what? Actually, for this one, let me try that. I'm going to put my NGL. That's what I'm going to do. I have my fucking NGL app, right? If you guys don't know what the NGL app, basically, it's this app where I allow people to ask me questions and anonymously, and then I answer them. So I will share this. Next step. I will share this link under my. Wait, I got a message from it. What the fuck? What would you say? Face with an L? Actually, that's what I'm gonna do for this stream. I'm going to answer the questions that I never answered that I got from I got 5 messages for the past 8 months. I didn't even realize that people were still like asking me questions on this. But let me just fucking. All right, let me just. Why can't it fucking. No, I want me to. Share it. Oh, here we go. What the hell? Okay, it's. Alright, let me just fucking post it manually. Fucking NGL app. Alright, ngl.link. Okay. To ask questions on the stream using this form. AMA bitch. Chiz. So how about I start by answering the questions that have been asked already. That's it. That's probably a good start. Let me see. Let me set up my thing so I'm on chat though, so I can kind of see what you guys are saying in chat. All right. Oh snap! I get to stay up late because of the 4th. Yep, you do. I always have to remember to disable sound. I feel like the YouTube thing is faster than the Twitch stream, because the Twitch stream is on a little bit of more of a delay from what I'm seeing. Anyway, yeah. So let me just start with these questions. Well, let me read them first to see if they're appropriate. Sometimes people send me stuff that's not exactly the most appropriate thing, even for my standards. I'm just kind of like, I don't know about that one. I know I'm all about free speech, absolutism, but sometimes people are deranged. Unless you're lying about the. Oh wait. Believe that. All right. Apparently, this person says, unless you were lying about this when you mentioned it on X, I believe that due to a medical condition, you are unable to eat kimchi. How has not being able to eat the one food synonymous with Korean cuisine affected your life as an ethnic Korean? Well, this is 2 questions. Well, 2 parts. Well, I want to address. First of all, I never said that I was allergic to or had a medical condition to unable to eat kimchi. I just said that certain people who have autism spectrum disorder have certain sort of senses that are heightened. One of them being spicy, right? If you're fucking, autistic, you have a higher sensitivity to certain things. Sometimes they have its sensitivity to taste. So therefore, when I was a kid, when my mom tried to give me kimchi, I would refuse to eat it because it would just be too spicy for me as a 5-year-old. And they would do the whole water drown trick as well. And I'd be like, fuck that, I'm not eating that, because I could still detect, I guess, like, the condition, quote unquote, would be super tasting, right? I think a lot of autistic people or on the spectrum do tend to trend towards some sort of heightened sense in one area. You can think about like kind of like a natural daredevil effect, I suppose. But not being able to eat it doesn't affect me at all. I mean, it's just a food. People who identify themselves by their cultural products, to me, are, they're falling into the trap of fucking like being commodifying themselves for Western interests. So maybe people who are insecure in their position in the West might feel some type of way about it, but I do not give a shit. That was 8 months ago, so wow, that was. Somebody asked this in November, randomly. Okay. How did you learn to hate Japan? Oh, man. This is definitely a fucking weep. No people are born hating Japan, not even Koreans. So I'm wondering how you learned to hate Japan, being a person who was born and raised not in Korea but the United States. I learned how to hate Japan because you guys are motherfucking psychopath degenerates. It's just kind of like, why are people anti-Semitic? Maybe because Israel is killing hundreds and thousands of children. It's not that they hate Jews, it's that they hate psychopaths. Learn the difference, retard. Though I doubt, like, this person from 8 months ago is watching my stream today. Do you consider your own mother and father to be opportunistic sellouts for having left South Korea for the United States before you were born? You wrote previously on X that all Asians who left their native countries for the United States. Again, another mischaracterization of what I wrote. I never said that all Asians who left their native countries for the U.S. after 1965. That's obviously a retarded straw man. But I guess, like, no, I don't consider them, because if you are anyhow familiar with Korea in the 1980s, it was a fucking fascist regime. Not only was it destroyed by America in the 1950s, which gives them all the fucking right to move here, but literally, like, their own fucking government, which had the Gwangju massacre in 1980, was killing them and being really fucking repressive, again, due to the United States. So no, I don't think they are opportunistic sellouts. I think you are a fuckface that doesn't know what you're talking about, and probably ask the past two questions like a retarded fuckface too. Would you agree that you... God. See, this is the same fucking retard is asking me these questions, so I'm not going to even answer this. Like, yeah. I guess I have retarded hater fans that decided to go on my NGL that I never look at and ask me questions. But feel free to ask actual questions this time. I realize that all 5 seem to be coming from the same retard, so I'm like, yeah, whatever. All right. So that's on the Twitter. Let me post it on... Let me post it in the Twitch stream. So Twitch link. Here you go. Yeah, WSOP, I saw that too. KTSC, definitely no new episode. I was hesitant to call it dead after last week's no episode, but I think we can confidently assume that it is finito, at least in the short term. They didn't even announce any sort of thing like, oh, we're taking a break for the summer. Oh, we're taking a break because, maybe the ice things are too much to handle at the moment for Ed, and you know, like he's been making a lot of content about that, so maybe that's what they could have said, to be like, you know what, we're still coming back, but you know, like we're just taking a little hiatus. They didn't even do that, so I'm going to say it's safe to assume that it's at least over for the time being, because not many of you know this, but KTSC actually started way back when, not just last year, but over the pandemic. I think he had a trial run himself, which kind of proves, I mean, like, kind of proves the fact that he was not able to get KTSC off the ground, even in the most captive audience time. Like, if anything were to take off media-wise, it's when there's the most eyeballs available, right? But then he couldn't even, like, fucking, like, make KTSC a thing when everybody was inside. So during 2020 or 2021, I think there was, like, a little bit of KTSC going on, but, like, it wasn't really that serious. Sorry, I'm going to be eating because I haven't eaten. Been pretty busy today, so decided to just mukbang it. But yeah, so if you look in the KTSC history, if you go all the way back, there's like around 5 to 10 episodes, I think, where it's just kind of like him and I think another guy just shooting the shit. Kind of very similar to my anti-social socialist club. But yeah, absent them reviving it like that again, I guess a current iteration looks pretty dead to me. I mean, even with his backward knowledge, I'm sure that Mike has to know that not releasing things for 2 weeks in a row is not good for the algorithm, you know. But you know, what can I say? They reap their own rewards, I guess. But yes, I am going to Las Vegas. I want to kind of talk about that. Yeah, it's kind of like it has been a yearly pilgrimage for, you know, since 2006, since I won, or, you know, since I made the final table. It's been like 19 years, right? This would be the 20th year, I guess, if I played it every single year. I didn't play it, I think like 2010 was the first time I didn't play it. And then 2015 was the second time. And then after like 2018 or so, I stopped playing like every year. I think I like didn't play 2019 and 2020. I might have played 2021 and 2023, I think. So that's like 19, 20, 22, 24, and 10, 15. So 6 times I didn't play out of the last 19 opportunities. This would be the 20th opportunity. So I'd be playing, if I, so I'm playing this year, so that'd be 14 out of 20 times that I play the main event, and that's 140K. I guess return on investment has been still pretty good, since I'm sort of lifetime guaranteed to have a pretty good return on investment on the main. But obviously after the main, return on investment has not been good. That's 130. That would be I guess minus the 10K that I'm spending this time, that'd be 120K for an ROI of like 45K, which is not great. So but obviously if you exclude the big win, I haven't been doing well. I've only cashed one time in 2016 since. And I guess I was like Matt Shepsky. No, sorry, I don't know who that is. If you tell me their online name, I might be able to identify. But in the past 10 years, I actually haven't been playing much poker in general. Um, Past 10 years kind of tapered off a lot. Just because like I was more involved with a lot of other stuff, including acting, obviously, and developing my show and all that stuff. Um, but I was heavily into the crypto craze and all this other stuff. So in the past 10 years, I actually been somewhat distanced from the poker community. I think the other thing too is that like as I got older, the people that I came up with like in the 2000s, right? I feel like really good players, really good poker players take two trajectories from my era. They usually they either make a lot of money in poker and then they monetize their knowledge because they don't really want to play anymore because they've already made so much money from playing poker that they're like, what's a way to passively make income off of what I know? Oh, I know. I'll start a training site. Um, you know, because like these top pros, they don't need to play anymore for money. They're like worth 8 figures, 9 figures. Not only that, a lot of them are early cryptocurrency investors. So a lot of them are just so rich that they don't need to even play poker. So if they're still playing poker, like the top pros from the back in 2000s or whatever, the only one who kind of like needs to actually play poker and it's probably still at somewhat near the top player range is probably Tom Dwan. So I've heard even like players today don't really respect his hold'em play that much, as like being a top player. I think he's like just the reason why is because he's in such heavy debts with a lot of people. He's probably like, Stu Unger back in the day. Stu Unger used to play gin rummy for the mafia. So I almost feel like his creditors are like basically using him as the same kind of like thing. Like, oh, you play for us now. You're playing like these Chinese triads or whatever, whoever he owes all this money to. He's kind of gone through a few, but if you see the other ship it holoballas, like Phil Galfand, right? Like, I don't know if he plays that much anymore, like high limit stuff or whatever, but like he runs that Run It Once website, and he's doing all this content now to try to like direct more traffic to that. Even though Run It Once is kind of like meh these days. You see the good to see you, like Andrew Roble. It's clear he plays for the recreation, or not recreation, for the fun of it. But like he plays in these big games still, but I'm sure he has like plenty of money. And then David Benefield, I have it on good authority that he was heavily into crypto 10 years ago and kind of rode off in the sunset. So, the four ship at Halabalas, only Tom Dwan is really the one that needs to play for money because he's deep in the hole. So a lot of people like Doug Polk or whatever, but then there's the other people who are really good at poker and they just kind of like leave the ecosystem entirely. And that makes sense, right? Like, as people get richer or whatever, and they don't need to make money anymore from poker, it's just kind of like, it is this very stressful thing where, like, in poker, you're not always winning. Even if you're one of the best players, you're not always winning. There's a lot of emotion and stress in the game. And it's just kind of like if you've made enough money, and now, like, people who are my age are kind of, like, settling into their 30s and starting families and whatever. And it's just kind of like, there's no need for that kind of stress. And, if you're tournament pro, especially, you're traveling all the time. And so, like, people just kind of, like, want to settle down in their 30s and 40s. Which results in, like, the poker ecosystem sort of, like, more accommodating the young. which makes sense, right? Like the young, it's kind of like, I guess I could attribute it to like athletics, right? Like, the young guns come up, they introduce all these new things into the game that haven't been seen before, and the old guard, they're kind of like, we've made our money, and we're not, it's not worth it to us to like keep on top of all these new trends, so we're gonna phase out. So that's kind of like why I've mostly like also reduced my main event attendance, just because like part of the main event attendance was also just to like kind of like reconnect with a lot of poker friends that I haven't seen in a year or something like that. But that kind of like ended in 2016 for me. 2016 was the last time I cashed, so that's 10 years after I final tabled. But even though I cashed, it was somewhat bittersweet because like no one was there. Like everyone else had left already Vegas. Like there was no more kind of like this, oh yeah, you stay at the house and everyone's kind of like supporting each other. Everyone's like, like the traditional or the Las Vegas summer for poker professionals would typically look like, a bunch of poker players rent out a house, or an Airbnb or whatever. I guess Airbnb today, these days, right? But they rent out a house for the summer, for the months of like May or months of June, really, because like the July is the main event. And we're all kind of like playing poker tournaments or playing poker online or whatever. But like, it culminates in the main event where everyone's kind of like trying to play the main event, trying to win, and it becomes this kind of like, not like, obviously it's not this team sport thing because it's not really a team sport, but some people do swap percentages to kind of like sweat. If they get knocked out early, it's just kind of like, oh, I still have like 5% in this horse that I have in the main since I traded 5% with him. So it's just kind of like this fun little group dynamic that happens. So for the past 10 years, that's where I didn't go every year. So I only went like half the time rather than every year. I guess it's somewhat similar to my iPhone usage. I guess as you get older, you just care about young people shit less. That's the message. But yeah, like I remember going to Las Vegas afterwards, and one of the mains, and just being like, oh, I don't even have anyone to like get dinner break with. That I think that was 2 years ago in 2023. I went to the main, played the main, and that was like the first year I didn't even meet up with anyone, and I just played it. That year I actually felt pretty good about the overall playing itself. Like I felt, even though I busted on day one, it was the first year I wasn't like emotionally attached to the result. I was just kind of like, yeah, that's poker. So it's kind of like proud of myself in that regard because I feel like for the longest time I put so much of my identity in like how I did as a poker player. Scotty Wynn, I don't think he actually plays. I haven't seen him around. I think he's too busto to probably play. I could be wrong though. He's not well regarded by anyone in terms of poker. And I think Men the Master was caught like with something recently too. But yeah, a lot of stuff in the past like 20 years ago, all the TV pros, whatever, they all kind of fizzled out. Same way. I mean, I guess like in a way, they fizzled out in the same way a lot of the pros of my generation fizzled out. For them, though, it was more of a shocker because like the transition from the online pros becoming better than them happened so fast. Like in the span of like a few years. Did you play online during the party poker? Yeah, that's how I got my start. I actually started on party poker, I believe. No, back up. I did play in home games before that, but online I did start like my quote unquote professional career did start online. I think I was a sophomore when I started playing party poker. And back then, this was 2003, right? This is like right after the moneymaker year. So online poker was obviously exploding. And after losing money my freshman year playing live poker on campus, my friend from high school, he was telling me, oh, like, there are these like, there's 2+2, there's these forums, these books you should read, like, and if you play online, there's a lot more like action going on. So like, you should get started online and read all these things. So over that freshman year, sophomore year, I read a bunch of books, and hold Slansky's, the original Slansky's Hold'em book. I started posting on 2+2, started thinking about things. I bought the Poker Tracker software. This was like the first of its kind, where it kind of like you fed it hand histories, and it would give you certain like percentage tendencies of the players outside. Yo, what's up, D Wallace? Oh yeah, you said you went to U of I with Arden, right? Wait, how would you cheat on PokerStars? Oh, would you just collude, you mean? I mean, that was pretty common back in, Justin Bonomo, obviously multi-accounting in 2007, I believe. That was a huge scandal, so to speak. But, yeah, so these sites, because, like, poker was getting big and, like, the moneymaker effect and everything, they were just, like, offering fucking money to sign up. And this would, like, for example, they would have these deals where if you deposited 500, you would get an additional 500 in your account. And this was back when, like, you didn't even have to play through it. You could just, like, cash that out immediately and print $500. That's how, like, crazy it was back in the day. Today, in today's days, sometimes you have to play through your money to even cash it out, like your initial buy-in. But they just offered. Obviously, you couldn't do it more than once, but like, yeah, exactly. And later on, they offered this rakeback deal, like these crazy rakeback deals in the 2000s. Like before 2008, there was so much money flying around everywhere. That people were just fucking like online poker. If you had a rudimentary understanding of like algebra and like you had patience, you could print money pretty easily in the early 2000s. Like that's how crazy it was back then. But yeah, I guess like what I'm saying is that like this trip around, so I have an Airbnb that I bought this year that I'm staying at. So it's just kind of like I'm trying to recreate this week, the poker playing summer house vacation thing with a couple of my friends. Only one of them is playing the main with me though. But it was just kind of like coming back to Vegas to have like a nostalgia trip with some of my friends. So that's kind of like why I'm going. The other reason is, I said basically after that 2016 thing, this is like the super stupid, superstitious, autistic side of me, where I'm just kind of like, well, after I final tabled, LeBron soon after got his NBA finals. And then 2016, I did, cash, and that was LeBron's most epic win. So I said to myself, you know what? Even though people aren't coming to these main events or whatever, I'm going to retire when LeBron retires, or I'm going to play when LeBron makes it to a high. First it was the finals, because like he was making the finals all the time. It's like, if LeBron can make the finals every year, I should be able to play every year until he does not. And then it became basically, conference finals. Okay, I'll play. And then now it's just kind of like, all right, let's wait till he just retires, and then I'll just case by case analysis. That's just kind of the stupid superstition. It's not really logical or rational in any way. It's just kind of like an emotional attachment to the king, which has been kind of reduced lately. I'm not gonna lie. The Bronny James thing kind of like put a bad taste in my mouth with him, and I do think some of the stuff he's saying these days they're little sour grapes, but overall, the the pact is intact. I'm still playing. He's still playing. I'm still playing. Let's go. Right. Is online poker still a thing these days? Yeah. Actually, it was in heavy decline until the pandemic, and the pandemic kind of gave it like a mini boost because like people were making money from like making money from the stimulus checks. Or the GameStop stuff, or just throwing money around with crypto. People. There was a lot of money being thrown around in 2021, but then that kind of like died. That was kind of like a temporary blip. And then a lot of tech bros started to try to get into poker as well. So that kind of like increased the popularity of it, and streamers started to get into poker as well. But then by 2024, that started to die a little bit. But then this year, they Club WPT started kind of like a more official poker site in America. And so I've been playing on there a little bit, and that's kind of like also been one of the factors in my revival in interest in the game, because before it'd just be so difficult that it'd just be a waste of time to even try to make money playing online. But now it's like, okay, I can still like kind of identify certain spots to be like profitable, so I'm gonna play. And then once I started playing, I was like, hey, how can I get even better? And so I shared hand histories with my more professional friends who were also starting to get back into the game as well. One basically the people that I'm going to Vegas with, and it's actually revived somewhat of my intellectual curiosity for poker. Like before I viewed poker purely as like I'm only interested in as much as how much money I can get out of it. And it actually didn't always be that way. I think like obviously early on you're like excited to make money, but you're also kind of like excited to like learn these new concepts and be like, oh, so that's what you do. It's kind of like, yeah, if you're learning a game, it's the joy of like learning something that's like not intuitive, and you're like, oh, I know this thing that most people don't know. It's kind of like, yeah, the feeling when you learn a new skill or a new talent or a new whatever. I actually hadn't had that in a very long time. Because I wasn't a full-time professional really. At any point in my life. So, like I guess like once I made all that money in 2006, I guess like the interest in the intellectual side somewhat diminished, because I was just kind of like, well, I don't need to play, and I'm already going to be working in finance and whatever, so I don't need to be the best anymore at this game. And so I kind of like let myself quote unquote go and just kind of like try to copy what the new trends were, and kind of like do what people were doing, and like smart people were doing, but not really understanding the underlying theory behind it. And so my play definitely like suffered as a result, and or not suffered, because it didn't really get worse. It just didn't like improve at the same rate the field was improving. So I wasn't like actually that great at poker by 2016 compared to the rest of the field. But then like because I'm able to make some money playing what my normal style, it's still good enough to beat a lot of recreational players, I now have the ability to play these games and also try to like experiment with different sort of tactics and ideas that I hadn't been experimenting with, like knowing certain 3-bet ranges or knowing how to bluff certain coverages and all this other kind of like more like stuff that normal humans would not ever be able to pick up unless they studied them. Like these are things that like you have to like go into the computer, or you have to go to somebody who has gone into the computer, like with these solvers, and you kind of have to like learn certain sort of like things that are counterintuitive, but then kind of like make sense once you understand the underlying theory behind why the computer is doing what it's doing. And so, yeah, for me, it's kind of like fascinating because, you know, I'm kind of a fucking nerd, as many of you might be able to ascertain by now. And I find a lot of similarities because I'm also learning Wing Chun at the moment. I'm also kind of like finding similarities between Wing Chun and poker too. Like there are certain things in Wing Chun, like for example, in poker, my friends and I call this the snake in the grass maneuver. It's like basically pretending that you're weak in order to get a player to bluff at you. And so if you notice, like let's say there's a player behind you, right, to your left, or a couple, you know, somewhere that's pretty aggressive and always bets when you check to them, right? So then, but then they might fold if you bet. So then what you would do is you would take like very strong hands, like let's say you had a set of kings on king, you know, king 10-5 or something like that, or whatever. Like the normal GTO play is to bet, right? Because like you're betting your kings, you're betting your, you know, not only are you betting your set of kings, you're betting a lot of other kings in your range, and you're, you know, you want to balance that. You want to balance your good hands with your bad ones when you want to get paid. But in this specific scenario, when you know for a fact that this person will bet when you're checking to them, it's better to actually check in this response and pretend that you're weak and just check call. And that my friends and I have seen like people blasting off there with hands that don't even make sense as bluffs. Like, you know, they'll be like Jack 2 of clubs on like King 10-4 rainbow and no clubs. They don't even have backdoor equity. So they're just like blasting off with these hands. So like if you identify an opponent like that, you know, that's the snake in the grass maneuver when you're being a snake in the grass. Then Wing Chun, it's kind of like the same thing. You like kind of like feel where they're pulling, and if they're pushing in a certain direction, you kind of like push that, you let that go in that direction to throw them off their balance, so you can like, you know, get an opening. And so like these like little things like that is kind of very interesting to me, like drawing parallels between Wing Chun and poker, but also just kind of like it's very mathematical. It's very logically oriented. So it's just kind of like how to figure out the irrational with rational is how I would describe it. And, you know, because you're trying to rationalize all these random sort of variables into a specific strategy, right? You're trying to unify all this information into a specific strategy that you can employ. And I just find that kind of like fascinating to now, because now I can practice. You know, it's one thing to know about it in theory, but to like put it into practice as well, that makes it even more fascinating. Because like, you know, as Mao would tell you, or any dialectical materialist would tell you, like doing things is sometimes the fastest teacher, right? You know, like yeah. Let's see. Doug Fresh, what it do? It do, I guess. 30% rebound on pokers these days is America's Card Room and Ignition. I actually played on Ignition a little bit. 2015. I remember it was really profitable actually back then, but yeah, I heard some stuff later on that was infested possibly with bots. and or Calvin Ayer wasn't the most upstanding citizen. So I know people stopped playing there. Doug, have you used your autism to count cards in blackjack? No, I'm not good enough for that. Or not that I'm not good enough, but you need other skills besides just straight autism to win at blackjack. To count cards, rather. I mean, same thing. But you need to be able to work people. So, one of my friends actually did do the counting cards thing. He was kicked out of the casino. But he remembers, like, you kind of have to, like, engage with the rest of the players. You kind of have to, like, pretend like you're having a good time and, like, it's kind of like distracting the pit bosses and the eyes in the sky from detecting that you're a professional, right? You don't want to be, like, not talking at all and, like, all of a sudden raising your bet to, like, 1,000 when you've been betting 100. Like, all of a sudden you're just like, wait, where did that come from, right? Obviously, that's very obvious. So you kind of have to, like, build in these little tricks, these social tricks and whatever to he was, like, bumping, like, people, blah, blah, blah. But, like, always kind of, like, so to do this, he would practice at home, right? He would practice with a shoe, with a 6-deck shoe. He would practice, like, what's the count, what's the count, what's the count. So he'd be able to do all this stuff while still keeping the count. But to me, it's like, it's a very, I mean, they've kind of solved. I mean, I feel like casinos have somewhat solved, like, counting cards. Like, they'll catch you really fast. I mean, they caught him eventually anyway, too. So it's not really like an endeavor that I'm seeking out because I don't think it's that profitable. But I feel like I could. If I so wanted to, I probably could. It's just not worth it to me. Like that dude in The Hangover. Yeah, I mean, that was exactly that, right? Or, I mean, I think they copied that off of Dustin Hoffman, right? Wasn't that the whole thing? Like, it was just like kind of a parody of Dustin Hoffman's, whatever. I was able to get my money in and out of Ignition. Hey, Doug. Happy 4th of July, Doug. In the end, it doesn't even matter. I guess so. Experience is definitely the best tier. Happy 4th, everyone. Well, it's the 3rd still in LA, but I guess in New York it's the 4th. So they can catch count kind of pretty well. Yeah, I don't know if you saw in the Bringing Down the House. It was a movie, I think it was called 21 in America, where they obviously replaced the main Asian guy character with a white guy, obviously. But that was a team in the 1990s, an MIT team that operated by having a team rather than just one player. So how it would operate is that you would have several players at several tables just counting cards, and then they would signal to a player with all the money in like a secret signal to say this table is hot, and like a certain signal to tell how hot it was, like it's a plus 16, plus 18 or whatever. And so the player then would plop down on that table and already bet big, because now the counting has already been done. He doesn't even have to change from like 100 to 1,000 anymore. He just has to bet big and then just like print money and then cash out or stop betting when the count is not good anymore. Because like he would come to the table, he would know what the count is, and then he would bet big, and then once the count was unfavorable, he would stop betting as big, or just stop betting altogether. He'd be like, "Oh, I just made my millions." They'd make that player, the big player that they call him, they'd make him somewhat like that character I was describing. Somebody who's sociable, somebody who can like kind of like throw off any scent of like being a professional, because that was kind of like the strategy. So I guess my friend was trying to do that all in one person, which is probably why he got caught really quickly. But yeah, from that experience, obviously now you have pit bosses who are also counting. They're counting to make sure, you know, they want to see if other players are varying their bets based on the count. So the pit bosses themselves are counting the tables. So if they notice if the count's high and a player all of a sudden is switching their bets, yeah, they're going to look into that really closely. So they've kind of solved any sort of like card counting stuff. But yeah. Phil Ivey lost 10 million for having an edge in Baccarat. That was a little different. That wasn't really based on counting, but that was based on a defect in the card that casinos were employing. That I guess whatever reason the manufacturer had some sort of defect in that card, and Phil Ivey knew this Chinese woman who could identify that defect and kind of like signal to him what was going on. So he used that to make millions of dollars. I think he lost one case to a Vegas casino or lost to the Borgata, I think, and then won against another casino in Las Vegas. I'm not sure, or in Europe or something like that. But yeah, a little different. Jeff Ma, I don't know who that is. Are you eating kimbap? No, I'm eating the Jap equivalent. I'm eating sushi. It was made by Koreans, so that's how I justify it to myself. Doug only eats pizza and burgers. Well, proved you wrong, bitch. But yes, it's chop bop. Exactly. Chap bop. Chap bap. Miso soup. Liquid of life. Always underrated. But yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Jeff Ma. Oh, Jeff Ma was a MIT. Yeah. I didn't know his name, but yes, he was Asian. And of course, like he said, the cuck thing of like, oh yeah, I don't mind if a white guy plays me. I'm Asian and I don't care. It's like, God, that's not the fucking point, you retard. Yeah, whatever. What am I doing for July? Well, I told everyone I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm flying out tomorrow. Playing my day one on July 5th, Saturday, and then what else? Yeah, I don't think I've celebrated July 4th. Basically, since the main event. Actually, I think on the years I didn't play the main event, maybe I might have just celebrated July 4th. Which means, like, just going out to see fireworks, I guess, with some people, whatever. Not really, like, celebrating. It'll be interesting how that shakes out, though, next year, because next year is officially 250 years after 1776, the Declaration of Independence signing. And as many of you might know, apparently 250 years is the length of time that most empires start to fall. So, seems like we're right on time with that one. When was the last time you broke it even or made money? Well, you can't break even. You either bust or you make money. The last time was 2016. Bitch, I thought you were in the stream. I've been saying all this already. But yeah, that was a little heartbreaker, actually. I was like doing pretty well. I was on day 5. You know, it's usually around, I don't know how many days it is total these days, but it's around 8 days to the final table, I think. Around. But I was still in at day 5, and I think around 250-ish people left. Out of like, usually it starts with around 8,000, 9,000. Nowadays it starts with like 10,000. But yeah, there were 200 or so players left, and I remember 2x shoving with top set, and the guy just calls anyway with gut shot straight flush draw. And of course gets there on the river, and I'm just kind of like, I think I was like, I was double average too at that point. So if I win that, I'm like 4x, almost 4x average. I think I had it covered, and then it busted like a few hands or a few orbits later when I was crippled. But like if I had won that hand, I would have been pretty good shape. But yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbled. Nah, I wasn't in the stream. Just got it now, lol. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Well, okay then. All right, let me check the NGL, see if anyone actually asked a question. Oh. Thoughts on the Jays? Who are the Jays? Like the Blue Jays? Are you talking about the Blue Jays? Because I have no thoughts. I mean, I don't even follow baseball anymore. Stopped following the Yankees like in 2018 or so. 2017, 2018. I think that's like around the time A-Rod and Mo retired, right? I forget when they retired. But yeah. No thoughts. I had Roy Halladay on my fantasy team for a while though, I guess. My only thought. What are you eating? Well, we solved that one. I want more creative questions, guys. I'm headed to Seoul next week. Oh, what are you going to Seoul for? I heard that there's still like pro-Yoon protests, like stop the steal. I'm just kind of like, oh god. Even your fucking slogans are so obviously CIA. You guys are so fucking retarded. They were protesting with these signs in English. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Real organic protest you got there. Dumb fucks. Not to say that I think Lee Jae-myung is going to be particularly that progressive or anything like that. Jury's still out to see what he's going to actually do. But it's kind of like, I feel the same way about him as I probably feel about Zoran. Probably a lot of talk and nothing. So I don't really have an opinion on Lee Jae-myung other than, yeah, at least he's not the crazy retard that tried to start World War III with North Korea. So I guess in that regard, he is an improvement over the past president. But I am in no delusion that he's going to be this like, whatever people are saying about, like I feel like we had a similar moment in 2008 when Obama was elected. I remember I was like starting my acting conservatory or whatever in New York. And it was like all lives. Like there was a lot of non-white people too. So when Obama was elected, everyone was like, oh my God, things are going to change, blah, 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 whatever. I was just kind of like, who the fuck is Obama? I was like, where the fuck did this guy come from? And obviously, if you guys seen my 3-hour documentary about Obama, you'll know where he came from now. But back then, I was just kind of like, okay, he's just another fucking politician. Not like he's gonna like, it's not like he's Jesus. They're like, everything's gonna change and blah, blah, blah. And like, they're like hugging each other. And I was just kind of like, all right, we'll see what happens. 8 years later, when Trump got elected, I had the same reaction too. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. I did not vote for Obama. I did not vote for anyone until Donald Trump in 2024. No, I voted for Howie Hawkins in 2020. I only voted for Trump just to troll. I wanted Kamala to have terrible numbers in her own state. But yeah, you know, I'm not retarded. I don't think California is ever going to be fucking Democrat. So it's like the whole idea of voting is just fucking retarded. Like, if you think voting is going to change anything, you are retarded. That's just it. It's like, oh, well, who did you vote for? Like, I don't fucking care. You're a retard. That's what you are. If you think that voting actually does anything. House of Cards this year, bro. So it should be fun. Make Korea great again. R.I.P. Doc Holliday. Oh yeah, he did die early, right? Giving a talk, Samsung Hospital. Got invited by a physician. Oh, nice. Yeah, get that Samsung money, bro. My dad actually was offered a job at a Samsung. One of his alumni ran a Samsung hospital, and he was just saying, "Yeah, you can work here part time, a couple days a week." Probably offered him a good deal too. It's just that my dad is not doing so well health wise, so didn't really make sense. And the other thing too is apparently South Korea has heavy air pollution. I think they blame it on China, but I think it's probably just their industrialization. And I don't think my dad would be able to survive that. So that's why I didn't move to Korea. But yeah, that Samsung money is good money. I mean, they own 20% of Korea's GDP, so... Well, let's see. Thoughts on Roh Moo-hyun? I actually don't know too much about him. I have to do some research about that one. I actually don't know much about South Korean presidents after Chun Do-won. I know a little bit of Kim Jong. To me, it doesn't even fucking matter. They're all fucking puppets. It's like the whole fucking government. At the end of the day, it's all fucking, yeah. They don't have autonomy. Like, why do I care about any president of Korea? Left or right. It's all fucking clown show. Did I vote Bernie Sanders? Unfortunately, I did donate to Bernie Sanders. This was after I had voted. What happened? Who did I vote for? Did I vote for Bernie? I voted for Bernie in the primaries, I think. But that was only because Andrew Yang had dropped out by Super Tuesday. I had registered Democrat that year, actually. I registered Democrat in 2020 or 2019 to specifically to vote for Andrew Yang in the primaries. And I was not able to, or else, you know, he dropped out after, I think it was after Iowa, right? Like right after. And then he sold out to Biden. And the worst part of that is he didn't get jack shit. He didn't get jack shit from the Democrats. Democrats just like shat on his face afterwards. When he tried to run for mayor in 2022, he just got shat in the face by Eric Adams. By the fucking establishment Democrats. Like, good job, Andrew Yang. You sold out for fucking nothing when they fucking, like, bury you. Because you're not the right ethnicity that they want to promote. which is funny because you're Taiwanese. You know, the most Gusano of all the Asians races. Yet they still did not want you as mayor or anywhere near the establishment. You were just a fucking cuck for nothing. You sold out for nothing, Andrew Yang. It's like, you know, maybe it's because you're Taiwanese. Like, really, I've never met a Taiwanese guy with cojones, you know what I mean? And it doesn't mean just like, yes, I'm sure there are ripped Taiwanese guys, like manly Taiwanese guys who kick my ass, I'm sure. Like, you know, I'm sure there's a Taiwanese guy out there who's like tough and like, you know, he can lift weights and everything. You know, probably kill me or whatever. But that's not what I'm talking about necessarily per se. I'm saying like, I've never met a Taiwanese guy who had the balls to be like, fuck everything, you know? Just doesn't exist. I don't know if it's the maybe it exists for the Aboriginal Taiwanese people or the non-Han Chinese Taiwanese people. But yeah, the Han Taiwanese people. Anyway, the last person I voted for was Bloomberg. Wow. I don't think I never voted in New York City elections either. And then, yeah, after I registered Democrat in 2020, I registered Republican in 2023. Not because I was that, you know, whatever. It was literally because I think I had lost my ID, my driver's license, and I just needed to get a new one. And then in the thing, it just said, hey, would you like to register as a political party? And I just kind of like wrote Republican, was like, yeah, I'll just fucking primary Trump then, or whatever, next year. Because the other option was fucking Nikki Haley, and no way was I letting that fucking retard in there. Not that she had any chance. No one really had a chance against Trump anyway in primaries. And now, because of mail-in voting, that changes the calculus of voting altogether. Because back in the day, when I was 12, 13 years old in U.S. history class and learning about how the Electoral College worked, I was like, wait a second, so you're telling me that no matter how I vote in New York, since it's always like 70% Democrat, pretty much, 60 to 70% Democrat, and I could vote Republican all I want, and I will never get the result that I want. So why would I waste a whole fucking day to pull on some levers that waste my time? And so, yeah. The point is, voting is pointless and useless, and it's a waste of your time. But now with mail-in voting, I was just kind of like, circle in a few black dots, mail it in, whatever. Yeah, in California, I also fucking voted against every single fucking DA that I could, because fuck the Sorosian Nazi DAs that just like let our, you know, communities get hate crimed with no repercussions. So that's how I voted. I voted in my own fucking interests. Not that it fucking even matters. Sunshine policy was pretty good, though. I mean, yeah, but that also illustrates the limits, right? The limits of what an ROK government can accomplish. I think the only reason they went along with that is because they were like, you know what, we've got bigger fish to fry in the Middle East. You know, I think they were kind of like, you know what, whatever. Everyone hates Adams in New York City. Yeah, because he fucking sucks balls. Like, I think in the past 5 years, everyone's like, wait, maybe it wasn't a good idea to put all these black, unqualified, corrupt people into office. Maybe that was not the solution we needed. Like fucking Karen Bass. Are you fucking kidding me? Karen Bass, Eric Adams. You know, these fucking Sorosian politicians. Like, what? It was just like a disaster. Everyone's... And you know what Eric Adams called his new party? Because he can't run for the Democrats anymore because the Democrats don't want to fucking run him. But they don't want to admit that they made a mistake by running him. But they also don't want to run him. So they want to run fucking Andrew Cuomo, who everyone already fucking hates because of COVID. But they don't talk about that part either. If anything, they only talk about, oh, he was misogynist and he kind of like probably raped women. Which is bad, obviously. But, killing grandmothers in nursing homes is also bad. Potentially worse. And potentially not getting any blowback from it. Except for voting for Zoran, I guess. And now people think it's such a crime to not vote for a fucking grandma killer or a retarded DEI politician because they hate communism so much. And the worst part of it is, Zoran isn't even a fucking communist. He's like from bourgeois like background and like, are you fucking kidding me? He's not a fucking communist at all. God. Everyone who's a political pundit in America is just fucking straight up retarded. Math cap was peak cuckery. Yeah, it's pretty. Sigh. What could have been, right? What could have been? I almost think like if he had just ran independent and be like, you know what? Fuck y'all. I'm running independent in 2020. I would have had so much respect for him. I would have been like, that's a Taiwanese man with balls. That's a Taiwanese man with cojones. But did that happen? No, it did not. It did not happen. What do you think of Haz's assertion that America is due for an age of killer clowns? An age of killer clowns? I don't know what age of killer clowns. What do you mean? Like Jokers? Like the Riddler? Killer clowns? Do you mean Chucky? It. The math cap with peak cuckery. Yeah. Yang can run for mayor of Arcadia. That's true. Hungry. I wish I could have mailed in my SATs. Yeah, exactly. They got the same circling bubbles, right? Same shit. Cuomo running for mayor still. Lol. He's going to call his party. So Eric Adams called his party the anti-Semitism party. It's like literally fucking like people are actually that retarded to be like, oh yeah, he supports Israel. Like, and you know what the fucking ironic part about that is? The only reason like Eric Adams pulled that way ahead of Andrew Yang was because Andrew Yang supported Zionism in 2021 when he didn't even need to have to. He didn't even need to open his fucking mouth about Israel, but the retard Yang was like, I support Israel. I was like, are you fucking retarded right now? Like, you didn't need to have to do that. You just fucking killed yourself. And then now this fucking clown Eric Adams is like, I'm part of the End Anti-Semitism Party. Like, are you go fucking get diddlered by Diddy again? You know, fucking. Ugh, God, that's the reason Diddy is acquitted for those serious charges. Because if he wasn't, then those serious charges would be opened up and we'd see who were the beneficiary of those serious charges were. And I'm guessing I would put money on Eric Adams being in that list of people. Cuomo refuses to stand down. Well, yeah, the mafia is, notorious for being obstinate. You don't mess with the Zoran. Zoran's eating with his hands thing was so cringe. No way he didn't stage that whole thing. Yeah, Zoran is just AOC, the woman version of AOC. You know, it's just kind of like the left was like, oh, or not the left, or well, yeah, the left, whatever. It was like, oh, the right wing have their Jeets. They have Nikki Haley. They have Vivek Ramaswamy. You know, whatever. We need our Jeets. We need our fucking Jeets that eat with their hands. Zoran is going to win LOL. He wants to run with AOC and president 2018-28. If AOC gets elected president, I will leave this country. That's right. That's right. Because what it would signal to me is that nobody knows what the fuck is actually going on. And I cannot be in a country full of retards any further. Sorry. I'm sorry. That happens in 2028. I'm gone. I'm over it. I'm over it. It means that we failed as a nation. I mean, it's 3 years. I feel like our party, you know, especially has the power to kind of like get momentum in 3 years to stop that disaster from happening. But if that disaster does happen, where people are actually thinking AOC is the answer to things, then I will be like, peace out, homies. I actually think I don't know. I don't even know how things are going to shake out in 3 years. I mean, like, who the fuck is talking about 2028 right now? Yeah, Trump might pardon Diddy because he's another fucking Epstein. He's got all the Epstein info. He's another Mossad agent. I swear I'm not racist, but why are there so many Indian politicians right now? Lol. I mean, that's the reason why. They're Jeets. They're like the minority that, you know, doesn't mind America being powerful. Because the Indian petty bourgeois, especially in America, the Indian American petty bourgeois don't care about India. They don't care about their people back home. They don't give a shit that everyone's fucking living in squalor. They just care about their own bag and their own financial interests. And a lot of them are probably tech bros like Vivek Ramaswamy, right? They made a lot of their fucking money through that. And by probably like promoting that tech broism in India, being like, oh yeah, this is the way. You just have to be slaves to Microsoft, and that's how you develop. It's like, yeah, Indian Americans are not really about revolution or anything like that because it's counter to their self-interest. And that's the other part of the equation. Most Indian Americans are probably from the Brahmin class, right? They're not, you know, they're not importing their Dalits to America. Dalits don't even have the right to like do basic shit, let alone immigrate to another country. So the people that we're getting are the creme de la creme of India's like elite. You know, they're well educated. They you know, because you have to be to come to America, right? They're not gonna just bring a street shitter to America and be like, oh yeah, this is the diversity we want. You know, they want their H-1B Indians, the ones that, you know, like teach you how to do calculus on YouTube, and all this other shit, but they want to pay them a lot less than a white person that can do the same shit. You know, these Indian workers can probably do this shit much better than any white worker at the same level, but they still get paid less because that's how H-1B visas work. So that's why Indian Americans they don't care about any of these revolutionary politics or whatever, because it doesn't affect them. They don't care about their countrymen back home because they were the Brahmin and they were like, you know what, fuck them, we're good. Modi can do whatever he wants, etc., etc. So they're like perfect. You know, just like the British Raj employed the bourgeois Indian people to kind of maintain the British Raj. It's the same thing. America's just kind of like elevating a few Indian, your Mindy Kalings, you know, your fucking, you know, I know Aziz Ansari is Pakistani, but you know, your Aziz Ansari, you know, your brown Americans being like, oh look how progressive we are. We're letting these people kind of like win or whatever. Oh no, another commie on Twitch. Oy vey, lol. Oh, okay. Well, if you want to be banned, I can do that right now. And you're banned. Oh no! Another. Yeah, banned. That's right, bitch. This is my space. This isn't a fucking. No, we're not. This isn't like a democratic thing where, oh, don't you take criticism? No. It's over. You're done. Get the fuck out. Clockwork Orange. Get the fuck out of here. Let's see. I swear I'm not. Oh, okay. Lil Wayne paid $2 million for his pardon. Diddy will definitely. Wait, what do you mean? He paid for his pardon? He paid who? Hope not to retire in the U.S. Yeah, I would hope not. I think Social Security. By the time we're retirement age, that's there's gonna be no money in that shit. Oh man. I would guess that the Brahmins just look down on the rest. I mean, yeah, that's what happens. They need to do something about these damn Indian robocalls. Ever been to an Indian wedding? Jeet inauguration would be insane. I've actually been to one Indian wedding, but I think it wasn't full Indian because they're Christian. So it wasn't like the crazy Indian. Personal cell gets 40 plus calls a day. Jesus. That's a lot. Oh, well, your mistake is you're answering these phone. All my calls now go straight to voicemail. Like, if I don't know that number, you're going to voicemail. If you have anything important to say, you're going to leave it on the voicemail. And if not, you don't have anything important to say. So, that's the hack. Just let everything go to voicemail. That's what I do. Hello, my name is... Oh, yeah. So, oy vey might be Jewish. Stop being anti-Semitic, Doug. Well, oy vey, you're banned. Bruh. By the time we're at retirement age, I don't know if America will still be a country. Yeah, exactly. I think most people recognize, or at least most people in the age of 30 or so recognize that there's a good chance in 10 to 20 to 30 years that whatever form America looks like then is not going to be the same form that it looks like today. Whether we're in a fascist America or a communist revolution happens, one of those things are going to happen. And obviously I'm hoping for the latter, but I think most people realize that one of those two, like, we're not going to be in this liberal democracy stage forever, or for the rest of our lives, rather. Yeah, Steve, you got wrecked. You let them know you're an actual person. But yeah. So how many people are here now? Let me check my. You guys all know that you can send like ask me anything questions here, right? This is like questions that you want to ask, but you might be a little embarrassed to ask because it might be a stupid question. So even if I do call it out as being a stupid question, you don't have to face the public humiliation, only a private humiliation of me calling you retarded. No, I mean, no, I try to answer these. If it's coming in good faith, I do try to be a little bit more kind and a little bit more cordial. But if I detect that it's coming in bad faith, yeah, you're going to get the retard ban and you're going to get the retard hit in the fucking face because you're retarded. But good faith questions, I'll try to be nice and answer them very nice, even if they are possibly offensive. If I feel like they're coming in good faith, I will be nice. It's more fun to ask you. I have nothing to hide, or be butt curt if you call me out. Oh yeah, I guess so. I mean, these are for people who are more shy, you know. Billionaires too strong here for revolution to happen at the moment. Never say never. I mean, doomerism is what obviously the bourgeois want to promote. They don't want you to even try, right? The key, I think, is recognizing that what happens in media land and what happens on the ground are two very different things. What happens on social media, what happens on mainstream media, they're all trying to. It's all propaganda, right? At the end of the day, all fucking media is propaganda. And what do I mean by that? It's like any sort of thing that's not telling the whole truth and is trying to direct you in a certain sort of opinion that they want you to believe. That's fucking propaganda, like literally. Um, and I feel like all the doomerism, yeah, if you look at media and if you look at all this other fucking bullshit on media about like like Pew Research polls and all these fucking bullshit polls, Gallup polls, it's like, yeah, if you trust them, that's, it's hopeless and there's no hope or whatever. But I think like the key is to stay grounded and try to talk to people on the ground, try to talk to working class people, try to talk to real people, just like regular fucking people. Maybe outside of your own class or your own comfort zone, or spots where blah blah blah. And I think you get a bigger picture of what's going on. I think that's like why the ACP has actually had a lot of success in the past year, because they do go out to actual working class people. We're going out to drayage truckers. We're telling them, hey, this is how you're getting screwed. And they're responding pretty well to it. They're like, yeah, that is bullshit. We should protest and we should, fight for higher wages. Hey, where are you guys affiliated with? Oh, we're the American Communist Party. Oh, you guys are cool. Maybe I was wrong about communism. Maybe I was told the wrong thing. And so I think it's just like these little steps that it's unglamorous. It's, like communism is, that's the other way I think the ruling class tries to control people. It's like saying, oh, revolution is actually like this romantic thing, like where, one hero saves the day and everything is righted or something, like putting all these fucking entertainment, that stuff out like that in that vein. But in actuality, like communist revolution is somewhat boring. if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of it. There's not a lot of like, oh, we're gonna go on this adventure and like blah blah blah. Well, like that's the bad part. That's when shit's gone bad. When like you are on the run and you have to like, or when fascism has taken over and you are in deep doo-doo. That is, yeah, maybe for people who love adventure and risking their lives needlessly, that's their element. But in actuality, Lenin started like the bulk of his operations by just starting a newspaper, Iskra. It's called Spark. It's just like, how do we start a communist revolution? Well, the first thing is people need to be educated on A, how they're being exploited by capitalism, and B, what communism actually is. Like how are they getting screwed and how are we going to fix it? That's basically Lenin's strategy. He was like, this is what we need to do. We need to teach people, how are you getting screwed and what can we do about it? That was the primary important thing. And I think the ACP is sort of following in those footsteps. I think we're like, for the truckers, we're going out saying, this is how you're getting screwed, blah, blah, blah. And then as we build the party, we're educating our members about like theory and stuff like that, so we can better educate other people about how they're getting screwed. And so the idea is that, Rome wasn't built in a day. The original Chinese Communist Party, I think, only had like a few dozen members, right? Even Lenin and his contemporaries, they were a very small group of ragtag people in the 1895. And especially in 1905 when they had to split from the Mensheviks. And so, it's I think you know, like Yogi Berra said, it ain't over till it's over, I guess. If I move to China, you'll know that I think it's over here. But that hasn't happened yet for me. So, yeah, just like Einstein leaving Nazi Germany in 1933, if I see the writing on the wall against Asian people here, I'm just going to be like, you know what? It's been a good run, America. It's time to peace out. When did you know we were truly fucked? 2018. When did I know? I kind of knew. Like, if you're talking about fucked in the current government structure and scheme, I kind of knew that was fucked by 2020. I want to say 2022 was when I was very confident that Marxism-Leninism was the only way to save humanity from self-destruction. A lot of that had to do with the Russian SMO kind of highlighting how corrupt American imperialism was. Like, literally just seeing them promote straight-up Nazis. And then the next year being like, oh, everyone's anti-Semitic. And you're like, the Canadian Parliament just celebrated a Ukrainian Waffen SS soldier. You dumb fuck retards. Like, do you even know what Nazism is? Do you even know what anti-Semitism is? You dumb fucks. So 2022, when all that happened, and I saw all the hypocrisy, especially from the left, the liberals who are like, oh, Putin's a fascist and Putin's not. And like, are you fucking retarded? That's when I knew. Oh, no, they're not retarded. They're fucking evil. They're evil fucks who are, yeah, Democrats are evil fucks is what I concluded. I mean, I concluded that before, but this was like the final nail in the coffin of like Democrats being fucking evil shits. When the revolution inevitably comes, Doug, your assignment is Mark Zuckerberg. Obviously, I mean, I'm still trying to like convert him to the cause. I was like, hey, I saw you read Xi Jinping, or you commented on Xi Jinping. Like, he said, like, wait, what? So if you go on Amazon and you see Xi Jinping, like book, one of them is like, a recommendation for like a quote from Mark Zuckerberg about it. And then I was like, oh, I saw that you commented. And he was like, what are you talking about? And it was like, oh, it's that Amazon said you did. It's like, really? Show me the link. But yeah. Doug is the only person who can come close. I heard he has some Hawaiian doomsday bunker. Yeah, I don't know. Are you afraid of ISIS to talk your mind, Doug? You not afraid of ISIS to talk your mind, Doug? I mean, I'm literally an American citizen. I like actually hope that they deport me or try to deport me or do something to me. Because you know what that would do? That would be fucking awesome for the cause. It's like in that scene from 300 when they were like, pray that they are that stupid. Pray that, all of Greece will unite against the Persians. If they kill me, pray they're that stupid. Obviously, it would suck for me in the moment, depending on if they like tortured me or anything. Like, obviously, I'm not looking forward to any of that if they do that. But on a optics level, it would be positive for the cause. So, win-win in that regard. But yeah, I guess, yeah, this month, with the poker stuff, whatever, kind of want to just have I know I went to Cancun last week, but I feel like this is like the vacation that I need. Cancun was fun, though. I'm not going to say that wasn't fun. It was actually a lot Better than I expected. Maybe I'll talk about that some other time. But I still have my Taiwan citizenship, I think, lol. Oh, wait, I thought you were Korean. Didn't you say you were working at Samsung? I don't even fucking know who's who anymore. Sorry. Do you eat tacos every day in Cancun? That's what I did. No, we stayed at a resort, like one of those very Americanized resorts. So I think there was Mexican night one night, but they had a lot of Americanized food. So, and I actually think like Mexican food in Los Angeles is pretty good anyway. So it's not like I have to go to get Mexican food in Mexico because it's just kind of like, well, pretty good burritos, pretty good tacos in LA. It's not like a New York City where there's like none of that. My dad is Chinese, my mom is Korean. They met in Taiwan. Oh. Oh. So okay. So you're not Taiwanese then. You're just nationally you're Taiwanese. I don't even fucking know. There's no difference. It's just fucking Han Chinese, right? But yeah. Anyhow, I'll do one last check to see if anyone asks questions. I think like obviously as a stream doesn't have that many listeners. Oh. After I posted it, three new questions. Doug, are you anti-Semitic? Oy vey. I am. You know what? You know what's funny? In Nazi Germany, they actually banned the word anti-Semitic because they didn't think it was specific enough to be anti-Jewish. But the other reason was because technically Semitic comes from. So in the 1800s, I think, Semitic came from the study of languages where they were like, because it was all based on the Bible, they thought, you know, Noah's Ark and all this, like Ham, Shem, Japheth, or whatever, were the Noah's sons, and Seth, I think, was the one, you know, where Arabic languages and Hebrew languages came out of. So they call those languages Semitic. And so technically that would make Arab people also Semitic. So the Nazis actually did not like the term anti-Semitic because they thought it was not precise enough, but also they were trying to get Arabic allies on their case. They were like, yeah, see these fucking Zionists? They're kind of crazy, right? Not only that, but they were also working with Zionists. So they were kind of, you know, double dealing in this way. But yeah, long and short of it is that, I mean, I think Israel is pretty anti-Semitic. Wouldn't you say? Your experience watching the liberals go full pro-Ukraine was mine with the dissident right. Lol. Oh, what happened with dissident right? That kind of. I'm guessing it was the Trump being pro-Iran bombing for you. Yes, I was born in Taiwan, but for one China, that was me. Oh, nice. All right, maybe you're the one-based Taiwanese guy. Slavery was co-opted by the black experience. Genocide was yeah, exactly. How did you come to learn about HAZ and the ACP? What interested you about that group instead of the other communist groups? So, I knew about the DSA and the PSL already. I just knew them as fucking leftists that were just scum. They were just saying shit about, well, A, they were saying shit about the rooftop Koreans that was totally incorrect. B, they were promoting like violence against petty bourgeois Asian business owners. And C, they were just all full of hypocritical fuckfaces. And then, like, you know, I was battling online with a lot of them, and like for years online. And then 2022, you guys are gonna find this funny, but the reason the one who put me onto infrared was Zhang Yu. So because like at the time he told me that Haas had kind of like owned this guy I was also battling with at the time, Andre Domise, on some stream 3 years ago, or over 3 years ago. And so that's when I started to check him out. Not to say that I was totally aligned. And initially, I did go to war with some of their fucking more Groiper adjacent members, which seems to be a recurring theme for me over the years with infrared and its Groiper adjacent fuckfaces. But yeah, I just started to listen to I didn't really like listen to his streams, but I kind of like started to look at, you know, the long form videos that he had about Stalin and the Soviet Union and all this other stuff. And you know, because the Russian SMO was going at the same time, and infrared was, and Haas and Hinkle, they were one of the few people who were kind of calling it out and saying all the right things about it from the get-go. That's kind of like, oh yeah, these guys seem legit. And I remember like a couple of years ago, even when Haas was quote unquote debating fucking Drew Pavlo, he was like the only one who was calling out Drew Pavlo's Uyghur genocide and all this fucking retarded nonsense that none of those people were even touching. So yeah, that's why I became disillusioned with those fucking retarded Trotskyist organizations, and was like, yeah, like if there's communism, if there ever going to be communism in America, it will be with the ACP. Absent that, there's no other hope. So if I leave America, that means that I have no longer any faith in that happening, because I think that fascist powers are to have taken over, like 1933. So yeah, if you see me leave America, that means I think it's 1933. But yeah. Yeah, I used to be friends with Zhang Yu. That's why it's so fucking like, but the fucked up thing is he'd started doing a lot of his bullshit shit while we were still friends. That's why he's such a fucking scumbag. He was talking shit behind my back while ostensibly we were still like kind of friendly with each other. So he's fucking scum. Like he's scum of the highest order. Like literally my fucking personal Trotsky. Like literally pretended to be my friend this entire time and was fucking backstabbing me while we were supposed to be even friends. Like this didn't just start when he started hating on me. This started like even when we were supposed to be fucking friends. He's like a fucking piece of shit. Like exactly like Trotsky. Like, yeah, sure, he might know some good, you know, Marxist theory and might know his stuff, but he's fucking, you know, an individual. Like even his whole shtick. Like, who is he talking to right now? Because, like, China, you're preaching to the choir, right? Everyone's like, yeah, we already know Taiwan's fucking full of shit. And in Taiwan, it's not like you're rallying the troops there. It's not like I'm seeing you organize there. It's not like I'm seeing you organize some sort of, you know, communist Taiwanese party to, like, you know. So what is your fucking role online? And when you talk about, oh, you need to speak your own language and never seek identity politics or whatever. I'm like, your whole shtick is being this esoteric Taiwanese expert, literally using your identity as a Taiwanese person to milk your fucking, you know, clout with Western audiences. That's why it's just like the hypocrisy is so fucking obvious to anyone who like is Asian, you know. To white people, apparently they don't see this hypocrisy. I'm just kind of like, yeah, because he's glazing them. He's glazing white people all the time, so they don't see the hypocrisy. Because like they think he's like a cool guy because he's glazing them. But for me, because I don't glaze them and I take them to task when they're being fucking racist fucks, they think I'm the, bad guy, right? Um, but yeah, sorry, I'm not gonna glaze you if you don't deserve the glazing. Whereas he will, because clearly, his shit isn't for. It's not for Chinese people. It's not for Taiwanese people. It's not even for Asian Americans. Like, based on what he says, all that shit he says. Do you think Asian Americans fucking follow him? No. So who is it for? It's for fucking white people, or the white Marxists that he's trying to, align with, so that he can hitch his wagon to promote his pathetic fucking rap career that'll never take off. He's like, oh yeah, I get so many hits in Chinese, in China or whatever. I'm like, yeah, yeah. If that were true, I think I would have heard about it from Chinese people. But yeah, obviously not. Doug, can you explain why Trotsky is bad for the uninitiated? Doug is my daddy. Holy moly, 15. Hopefully not. I don't think I impregnated any woman outside of my knowledge, so I don't think that's true. So Trotsky, Leon Trotsky. So Leon Trotsky is he was a Russian Jewish man, but I don't think his family was that religious. I think they were pretty secularized. So it's not really connected to Zionism or anything like that. But he was a Russian Jewish man. He was part of revolutionary kind of like circles, especially during Lenin's time or whatever. But he was part of the faction that sided with the Mensheviks, which were kind of like more the liberals or the social democrats of the time. The Mensheviks were kind of like, yeah, they're kind of like more like the DSAs back then, like, people who were willing to play ball with the bourgeoisie, as long as the bourgeoisie kind of like gave them little treats, not unlike, yeah, like the DSA pretty much. So Trotsky sided with the Mensheviks when Lenin was like, no, the Mensheviks are fucking corrupt, they're opportunists, and that's why we need to split off from them. And so from 1905 to 1917, he was cavorting with the liberals, right? The liberals. But then in 1917, I think he saw the writing on the wall and was like, oh wait, Mensheviks aren't really popular, but the Bolsheviks seem to be gaining a lot of popularity with the February revolution. So I'm gonna switch teams now. Be like, hey guys, I'm here. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Y'all are, like joining the ACP again. Not unlike Mr. Zhang Yu, right? Being like, hey guys, I was always part of you guys, And so he does do some positive things for the Soviet Union in the beginning. I think he organized a lot of that Red Army stuff in the revolution. But then his policies later on it was revealed that he may have been involved in a possible assassination attempt on Lenin with MI6. He later collaborated, once he was exiled, he collaborated with both the Japanese and the Nazis to destroy the Soviet Union. Kind of denied by Trotskyites, but there's pretty good evidence for both assertions. And yeah, generally just he was generally wanted power for himself. He is everything that capitalist propagandists say about communist leaders. Like, he was all about himself, all about his own kind of like prestige and power, and he just wanted He just wanted basically Stalin's spot, when Stalin was already voted as secretary, and it's possible he also fabricated with Lenin's wife some sort of testament that said, Trotsky needs to be, elevated or whatever. Because like when you look at Lenin's actual writings, you'll see that throughout his entire life, almost like he's dogging on Trotsky. It's only like after 1917 when he's like, all right, you're back on the team, that he's like stops like criticizing Trotsky. But yeah, Trotsky in his book My Life, he writes in 1930, he tries to portray it like him and Lenin were brothers in arms the entire time, like they were the ones that were the revolution, and Stalin stole his thunder, and all this fucking bullshit. So yeah, that's why he's a piece of shit. And even while, like in the 1930s, he was fucking doing all this shit with the Soviet Union. And the whole time Stalin's like, we're trying to fucking prepare to fight the Nazis right now. And this Zinoviev, Kamenev, all this, fucking Bukharin, all these fucking traitors that tried to side with Trotsky, they needed to get fucked and got. So that's what the root of the Stalin purges were. Like all that wrecker shit that Trotsky was doing in the 1930s, he was cleaning all of them out because they were all trying to fucking join the Trotsky train, and they weren't happy with Stalin's reforms, because they were probably more the opportunist ones in the party as well. And so yeah, they needed to get God as well. And so that's why he is bad for the uninitiated. Wait, who's Holy Moly? Are you Lunochod? I feel like it's a good possibility that you're Lunochod. Anyway, this one's long enough, and I got some work to do. I got some studying to do for poker. So I'm going to end it here. I might not be available next week for obvious reasons. But I will see, and I'm only going to be bringing my laptop with me, so I don't know if I'm going to have a strong enough computer. I guess I'll just use the webcam to stream, but yes, Trotsky is the Theon Greyjoy. There was no real reek. Yeah, I guess so. Sort of. Russians were the true warriors that fought the Nazis. Exactly. Yeah, they did. But yeah, so next week, I'll see if I can stream. If I can't, I'm sorry. But next week, it's possible that I won't be able to. I'll try to use my janky laptop just to, if I do stream, it'll be on Sunday, which will be the day after day one. And then if I'm still in a tournament, so day 2 would be Sunday and Monday, day 3, Tuesday, day 4, Wednesday, day 5, Thursday. I might not be able to do Thursday regardless. I might have some other obligation. But we'll see what happens. If I'm able to stream on Sunday, I'll probably give an update on how day 1 went. And if anything obviously goes crazy with the world, that hasn't happened yet, I'll be commenting on that as well. But other than that, I don't expect. And the following Sunday, I might also be busy because I'm just gonna be flying back from Las Vegas. Maybe I'll try to stream maybe like a little thing if I'm back in time. I don't know when my flight's gonna be. Yeah, everything is in flux for now, but good chance I'll stream this Sunday if my equipment cooperates with me. Lower chance on Thursday, and an even lower chance the following Sunday because I'm not sure what my schedule is going to be like. But I will. Yeah, I'll try to keep as consistent as possible with this though. All right. Good night, everyone. All right. Night, y'all.